Well, first of all, it's the first single-seater series to be opened in the UAE, and the first maybe in the Middle East even, because there's never really been a really good single-seater series with such a great car that they've chosen for the Formula Golf, and it's just going to be really good to drive on tracks such as Yas Marina, F1 track as everyone knows, so it'll be really good to go there. Really good experience to have a go on the F1 track, as well as the Dubai Autodrome, which is a well-known track for touring cars, and a few years ago it held a GP2 race, so they're all really good tracks, and the car looks really good with some Formula 3 tyres, which is the class above what Formula Golf is meant to be, so it'll have good grip, a very good aerodynamic car. Well, it's more or less, if you look at it, you see a picture of the Formula Golf, it looks like a mini F1 car, and I guess that's obviously what the aim is to do, produce young drivers from the Middle East, UAE, to try and help them stepping stone to move up the series in Formula cars, and the plan for the UAE is to get an Arab F1 driver or a driver from the UAE into F1 in the next 10 years. Well, first of all, it'll be the first time that drivers stepping up from, say, karting, or drivers that haven't had any other experience before, to actually getting into a proper racing single-seater car and learning how to drive the car, saving tyres, all the things that go along with it. They also have media training, personal fitness training, and driver coaching, so all around the way they've done it is really good to help build up a driver in every way possible. Most sports, not just doing the racing, you have to train, you have to work on so many things, especially with the schoolwork. My parents say you can't do racing without the schoolwork, so it takes a priority in a lot of ways. You do miss a bit of social life with seeing your friends as you're busy many weekends, but you have to be committed to do something. If you really want it, that's the way it has to be. So since I'm only still in middle school, it's hard for me to be travelling every other weekend to Europe, which missing school and that makes it very unreasonable and hard to catch up. So having a series in the UAE makes it a lot easier, as it's based here. It takes me only an hour to travel there instead of 6 hours and a whole day of getting ready for it. So in that way I think it's a very good way to start. Well, obviously my main aim is to win the series, be the first winner for the series, and obviously to move on from there. Also, just learning the biggest aim in single-seaters is to get as much seat time as possible. And with this series, the way they've designed it is to have as much racing, have as much seat time as possible. So I think it's a really good way to do it, and hopefully I'll gain a lot of experience from there and use it to become successful in the next series. To be honest, in karting, although it's quite different to drive, the racing is very similar. The basics of racing is more or less the same. So from there, I've learned a lot in experience that I can use in cars, but then driving the car is completely different. I haven't driven the Formula Golf yet, but I think I'm doing in 2 weeks' time, during the first test day for the National Championship, I'll be doing a media day, so it'd be really good to get my first go in that car. There's very strong competition so far from not just the UAE, but around around the Middle East. I've built a lot of experience, and I think I'll have a good race with the other people, and hopefully I might be on top, but so I have to see what happens when it comes to it. If you win, there's a scholarship for Formula Renault Bark Series, which is, say, the step up from Formula Golf, and will help me move on into Europe. The way it works with that series, which is good, is most rounds are in the summer.
Oh, okay.
So there's one or two either side of it, which makes it a bit hard, but we have to plan for that. But giving up school is not an option for me at the moment with my parents. To win the Formula Golf would be really good for me. Winning it in the UAE at home, obviously, would be great because I know so many people here. Hopefully some people come and watch it that I know. It'd be great to show them something from what I do, and just winning that would be really good. It would be something great to write down on the CV and help me with future seasons, and hopefully maybe even help me get sponsorship. As with motorsport, one of the main problems is the expense of it. And as you move up even more, it gets more and more expensive. That's one of the really hard things to do. So hopefully it will really help me in the long term.